Hey y'all, this is Shri. Welcome to the third session within Microsoft Fabric's Data Factory. We conclude data engineering with Microsoft Fabric with the third method of loading the data from source systems to the target systems using the copy activity in the Microsoft Fabric Data Factory. So copy activity is part of data pipeline, and that is also a no code solution. The reason we call that as a no code solution is user really need to configure the copy activity. They don't really need to do anything else other than configuring. That's the idea. And usually the copy activity we do use copy activity in multiple places, especially when moving the data from um, one layer of the lake house to the next layer of the lake house, or connecting to other clouds, um, connecting to your data warehouse. These are all some of the typical examples of the copy task configuration. Please remember that whatever functionalities that are not available, especially with respect to copy task in Microsoft Fabric's Data Factory, they will be available in Azure Data Factory. So, therefore, please treat Azure Data Factory as an extension of Microsoft Fabric's Data Factory. And let's start with the coding exercise now, or I should say, no coding exercise where we configure the copy activity. Um, so once again, let's do the same thing. App.powerbi.com or Fabric. You could land in the Fabric page, log in with our BI user that we have been using so far. Choose our workspace. Of course, it's Contoso Sales, and then what I want to show also is there are two kinds of views you could look at what is going on in your workspace, right? One is the lineage view and another one is the list view. Right now it is on the lineage view. Please, we can move to the list view like so. And let's say we filter based on data pipeline. So copy task is a part of a data pipeline, remember? And also I said copy data you typically use to copy the data from one layer to another layer. In this case, the copy data is done from data bronze to data warehouse layer. So let's take a look at already created or configured copy data task. So so it is as simple as you configuring a copy data task here as part of this pipeline. And we all know pipeline experience is nothing but one of the experiences in the data factory, right? So the data pipeline. So open the data pipeline, create a pipeline. In this case, I created a pipeline called copy data bronze to data warehouse. So we already seen and learned what are all the different activities available within data pipeline, and one of the most popular activity and one of the activity you should remember is the copy data activity. So the copy data activity is dragged and it is presented with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs that we need to configure. Give the name of that, right? So choose your source location. In this case, the source location I have chose is the lake house. And if I open that, this is how the experience will look like. So you can go choose, for example, anything of your choice. And then once you go back, yeah, so on the source, you choose actually the root folder. Remember, in your lakehouse, you have tables, you have files, and I want the table. And I want the table that has been created last time, which is sales customer by territory as part of Dataflow Gen 2. Now it is time for us to move to data warehouse so that our other users can use this table. So one of the very nicest features of the copy task is you can preview the data like so from here, so that you know what how the data looks like. It's very amazing. You can directly see it from here, and then uh, you don't need to choose the data type as workspace. Like I said, you can choose data type as an external data store, um, or like a sample data sets that are already available. We'll see this experience once I close this. Probably I'll open a new copy data and I'll show you. But for now, let's move on to the destination. In the destination, again, we have a workspace, we have external, choose workspace. As part of this workspace, we have this thing called warehouse this time, right? This is not a lake house, this is a warehouse. So a data warehouse is used as a semantic layer in order to actually deliver the last mile experiences to your end users as schema on write scenarios. So pretty much, your end users, just it's a fancy word of your end users already know how the schema looks like. End user meaning, let's say, Power BI report creators, they know how the schema is. So we store them, we refresh the data for their consumption, and they create brilliant dashboards, reports out of that, which your real end users will use, such as CEO, CIO of your company, or probably your vendors, you name it. So we created a data warehouse called sales data warehouse, and within sales data warehouse, I want to actually store this table as dbo.sales. I just gave a name, and then you move on to the mapping. As part of mapping, it creates, you don't need to accept the automatic mapping by default. It will generate the mapping from the lake house, and it maps the same attributes in this case, uh, to the destination, right? So date time is a date time, and all of that stuff. And that's also one of the nice things I like about this. By the time, if it comes as a table into the lake house, you are in a sense imposing the schema here 90% of the time, and you can always change. I'm not saying that, but um, most of the times it nicely maps out. So there are different settings, throughput optimization. um, so when we choose the auto throughput optimization, this optimal setting is applied so that your source destination data movement um, would be actually optimized, so that the data will be moved much more faster, right? Also, you can configure the degree of parallelism. I would just choose auto for this. Let's leave the system, unless you probably are moving um, um, hundreds of millions of records. Probably we might need to do something over there, but regular day-to-day tasks, I would leave that to auto. And enable staging is enable staging as it sounds. So the data would be first staged before moving into the warehouse. If for extremely large tables, you don't need to do that. And there are scenarios where you don't enable staging. Um, that we can speak later. I will create a separate video for optimizations, performance improvement, etc. down the line. But for now, if you want to see any documentation of when to actually enable, when to not enable, it is actually much easier, right? So go here, see the documentation, and they show you, right, how the staged copy works, and when to enable staging, when not to enable staging, and all of that stuff. um so having said that, that's it. Those are the configurations you need to do, and you save that and you run it just like anything else, right? So let's go to Contoso Sales, and let's go to the filter. Let's go to the data pipeline, and the data pipeline is copy data from bronze layer to data warehouse. This is the one, right? So it's right there. So if you go into Contoso sales, um, you go and filter on the lake house. So let's do that. Let's actually sorry, I'm sorry. Let's not filter on the lake house. Let's go ahead and filter on warehouse also. And here you see this warehouse. Uh, Go ahead and open the warehouse. And warehouse has bunch of tables, right? So our table sales category by territory is right here. And you can, if you want to, generate a new report directly from here, right? Off of the warehouse, a new Power BI report, which is actually the beauty um, of this, right? And also I want to just tie out the end scenarios for you, so that you can just put a face to what all we are doing. So you can actually, for example, you can choose any visual. So for now, I'm just choosing the basic visual that really matter. I'm just putting um, account number, the name right here, and the data is refreshed, right? um, so the point of this is, I'm actually not going to generate great reports as much as you all do, but I'm just making a point that it is as easy as, like, you go to the tables and tie out your brand new table to the existing tables and just query off of that. Um, so, like I also promised to you all, so I want to show you a little bit about this copy data exercise. So you say copy data, add to canvas, right? Like that. Um, and initially it will ask you to configure the sources. So you go here, and we already saw the workspace. For example, you can definitely do external. So you can say new, and look how many external sources you can connect to. You can connect to Amazon, RTS, you can connect to, let's say, some other PostgreSQL database somewhere. um, you can actually connect to SQL Server database itself, um, and like SFTP systems, S3 buckets, of course. Google Cloud Storage is one other important, very nice thing. Um, you can actually connect to a REST REST specification enabled endpoint. um, HTTP protocol, of course, you can hook into something like Azure Function or something like that, which has HTTP endpoint, and our good old OData. So NoSQL databases. You can, one of the most popular thing is you can connect to the Snowflake if there is Snowflake in your organization. And other Microsoft clouds, Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, and the Dataverse, right? So all of the stuff again here in the copy task, all you need to do is just configure. Sky is the limit, right? Like I was saying. And also, I said I will show you a little bit about the sample data sets. Microsoft's actually, gives you access to this New York taxi data set, diabetes data set, COVID-19 data set, um, and all other data sets that might be useful, public holidays, etc. Um, and then destination wise, again, you can see how many destinations are supported here, um, and how many destinations you can choose as part of this. So please actually check all the various source and destination that currently this copy task supports. um, and if something is not available here, that's okay. We can always use Azure Data Factory, right? And hopefully, like remaining things will land here very, very soon. And just the mapping I have been talking about and the settings, which we already spoke about. So, with that said, that is how this exercise looked. This is just configuring and running. So, nothing more than that. And to conclude, just like how you will monitor everything else, please know that there is something called Monitoring Hub. Within Monitoring Hub, for example, I ran this copy data earlier today. You can see view detail, and there are details here. And as part of these details, you can see, right, what are the different artifacts that are related to that, the activity itself, and the details of the pipeline that are being run. So if you click on that, you can see the details of the pipeline that are already run, right? So what is a pipeline, etc. So this is the pipeline and this is the copy task. And if you want to see the rich interface in this world, you go here, you see it said it read two files. The data is worth 964.3 kilobytes, and it has written 19,820 rows into the data warehouse. And as you can see, right, so this is pretty fast. So you can see all other details about when it started, what are the different tasks, how much time it took by task in order to transfer, right? So everything. This is the GNAT chart that it shows. It's really cool. Um, and if you actually go back to Monitoring Hub, I want to show you something else before we conclude. If it is a notebook you run as part of the data pipeline, you can see the actual notebook uh, that is run. Um, so, for example, this is so powerful that if you say view detail, it'll show you again like any other detail. It will show you the detail here. You can go to the notebook, which is nothing but a Spark application. Once you go to the notebook, you open the notebook and it loads the application. Let's give it a minute, and you can see all the jobs that has been run and the details of each job, right, to the T. You can go click anything and see the resources it consumed, right? See the Spark resource usage, etc. So you can click anywhere and see at this point in time what is the job that is running, and it is using, in this case, an executor, and also how many cores the executor is using. You can see the logs themselves, um, right, in greater detail. You can see actually, one of the good things with this is you can see the snapshot of the notebook that ran, right? So what is the token it passed to this notebook, so that you can see, right, what actually happened. Let's say you are developing some pieces of code and you want to actually print something, or you want to see where exactly it failed while you are testing, or if you are performing the logging, right? So let's say you can control your logging by saying, like by specifying different levels, namely debug, error, etc. modes are there, right? So you can use a Python standard logging, and you can see all the details, of course, within the logs. If you want to, you can always go to Spark history server, see in greater detail of like how your Spark notebooks have run. um, so we can actually, like in the future, dedicate a session all by itself on how to actually monitor the Spark loads, and how to see Spark faces, etc. How to actually know and for example, how to actually tune, right? How to perform diagnostics and tuning, all of that stuff, all of the good stuff. So Microsoft took care of us. They showed us, um, you know, they have given us the tools to see so many things, right? So uh, the Spark version is also very latest. So with that said, I think I can keep talking and talking about this. This is such a wonderful tool. Um, so I hope you enjoyed the three sessions so far, and please don't forget um, to subscribe and like. Goodbye. Meet you in the next session. We'll talk more about data science. Bye. And this is Shri signing off.